it's showtime, as they say somewhere. Executive Tim Hutchins is getting suited up, in this case headphoned up, and he just concluded not too long ago, not exactly sure when, but the fiscal court meeting for.
Yeah, we got done about 10 today, or a little bit before 10, so not too long of a meeting today, so trying to get some business done. So how you doing this morning, Ross?
Well, doing fine. We concluded a 7th year of doing a pancake breakfast with Bardstown Kiwanis Club. So
yeah, you sent me that text, and I think if I told the magistrates, they probably want you to deliver. You said you would deliver, didn't you?
Yeah. Next year, if it happens to coincide with your meeting, we'll have pancakes before the meeting.
Yeah, we probably need to get that organized. That's pretty good. They've been on 7 years. Where y'all do that?
Over at Mandy's.
Okay.
They graciously provide us with the cooks, a lot of the assistants, and everything. And then we have Bloomfield Farms and Jake's Sausage, or sponsor and provide us those products. So it's another great example of what this community does.
That's
for each other.
That's pretty good. You have a big crowd.
Yes, sir. Yep. And then of course Stan Mullins of Modern Women of America organization also helps out significantly. So
Stan was the one that did the debate, wasn't he?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, he's out of E-Town.
He lives I think north of E-Town. Great guy.
Yeah, what organization's he with?
Well, he's with the Modern Women of America. It's a fraternal organization that has insurance and financial products. Okay. But also has scholarships and other programs. I've been associated with them and as a member for several decades now.
Well, no, he did a good job on that. I remember he was a moderator, I think, if it's the one I'm thinking about, yeah.
It was kind of his idea to put it together. He does something very similar or all the time over in Hardin County, in particular in the Ratcliffe area.
Well, our phone call, our number is 348-2222, 348-2222. Anybody wants to call in and ask any questions, basically about anything as far as Nelson County government or fiscal court or state and federal as far as that goes, anything related to that. We have some high winds coming in. I think they've already announced they're going to be at 40 to 50 mile an hour, Roth?
That's what they're predicting.
They come in tonight, this afternoon, and late.
This afternoon, and because of just the atmosphere and the dew point's really low. I mean, it's just a mixture of things.
One of the, as far as trees and limbs, after you had those ice storms, and then you had all this flooding, which makes the ground very soft. Then when you have these high winds, it's definitely a safety, issue people need to be aware of. You don't really think about it when the high winds come in, but when the ground is soft as it is, all the water we've had, and then you had all the ice storms that put the weight on the trees and limbs, and it won't take too much wind to snap them, blow them out, and so it is another safety thing people need to be aware of.
Judge, we've got a text that came in. I'll just read it verbatim. It says, I live in the Greenbrier area. Highway 49 is a terrible road to travel daily, and he would like to request some white lines painted on the shoulders of Highway 49, which are very helpful to me.
Well, I had an email from the county engineer, Brad Spalding, probably, and another individual was out there. So we forwarded that is a state road, and we have forwarded that on to the state leadership and seeing where we can get that. I know it needs it. I don't drive that road a lot, but I drive it occasionally and just going out riding and checking things, and it needs it. I know Senator Higdon, actually, they're trying to get 49 in the 6-year road plan to do some work on some of those bad curves. Now, when that will happen and how fast it will happen, but they're trying to get to, there's some of those bad curves out there. So it's, travel-wise, as far as the numbers of traffic per day and all that, it's, when they look at all these projects, that's one thing that they look at as far as the state leadership and all the engineers, and of course they don't fit the criteria as far as a high traffic road where some of these other ones do. But the safety on that road, we know that there's some places that need some work. So Senator Higdon did send me something on that here about a month ago. So I will look into the striping again. I think that's already in the works, but just let this person know, and we will look into that and see where we're at on it.
And let's see here. That's the only text we have. Phone lines are open at 348-2222, and that is the same number that you do text to if you would like to text in a question. Please add a 502 area code to your text.
One thing I'll talk about today, we had a fire at the Life Care Center.
Landmark.
It's a Landmark Life Care. What's the proper name?
I believe so, yeah. It's on top of the hill. Yeah.
It used to be, I forget what they used to call that, Federal Hill. It used to be Federal Hill, out off of Old Bloomfield Pike. So the senior home, or it's the, so anyway, they had a fire out there this morning, and I had the sheriff called me, and then Brandon Metcalf, our EMA director, called and gave me an update on that. And they had, I think they got it under control, first of all, and nobody lost their life. And the last report I've got, they moved 18. There's 18 citizens there that they had to move out, 18 that had some minor health injuries and smoke inhalation, and I think one police officer or one emergency service. I don't know if did you get that report?
Yeah.
So I don't know if you've announced that already, but they've got it under control, and anybody that they moved out, they had I think 8 different agencies. This shows you how well our dispatch center, and I told them about that in court this morning, and it was the sheriff and the ambulances and the fire, and not to leave anybody out, but all the emergency services, the city fire department, the county fire departments, and I know they said they had Bullitt and Spencer and Washington and maybe Marion. They had 4 or 5 different agencies all come in because you didn't know how bad it would be or could be. They had to transport these patients, or not patients, but the people that had lived there, they were staying there, and moved them to, a lot of them went to the hospital and tried to find other places to take them. So that's been going on all morning, and but they did a good job, and all the reports came back pretty positive so far. So I don't think anything was, as I can tell, anything was real serious as far as life-threatening yet.
They said mutual aid, I think is the terminology that's used, is that when one agency is needing help or needing backup. And a lot of times what happens when there's a situation like this, you can take all of your firemen, rescue people, and so forth, but you got to be ready in case something else comes in.
Yeah, they've got these interlocal agreements, and when they work with each other, it is like I said in court, when they have emergencies and things, and we back them up. So it's good to have your neighbors, and Keith Metcalf always said it's our cousins. Our adjoining counties are cousins. That's kind of what he used. And we have a good relationship with all of them, and I think everybody works really well together. So
we're going to go to the phone right now, and Scott, are you there?
Yes.
Scott in Greenbrier, go right ahead.
Go ahead, Scott.
Yes, first I want to thank both of you for putting this show on. It gives us an opportunity to know what's going on and express concerns or questions. I'm also a resident, live out 49, just south of the river. We live on a little road called J.R. Ballard Lane. I don't know if you're familiar with that road or not.
I am, yeah.
And it's like 10 feet wide, chip seal road, and the trees are probably 12 feet, in between. So there's no way 2 vehicles can pass on this road. Now, that being said, I've been back here over 40 years, and I'm a person like most people who do not like change. I kind of like things the way they are back here. But we got about 12 residents back here now, and there's a zoning change right now that's been placed before the planning and zoning, a request for zoning change, and they're wanting to take a 6.5 acre tract, 6.6 acres, and divide it up into 6 different lots. Now, as I understand right now, in this area, it's considered a rural area, and it's only one house per 5 acres, and please correct me if I'm wrong. And my question is, we went to the planning and zoning meeting, and the people that live back here are opposed to having additional driveways on this road because it's hilly, you can't see, there's blind hills. Plus, if you meet a vehicle, you have to back up. Now, the board members are great to work with. You know, they listen to us and they take consideration what we have to say. And planning and zoning, the office up there, those people are great. They bend over backwards to help you now, and I have no complaints with them. But we have a concern if we add 6 more lots, 3 more driveways coming on J.R. Ballard Lane, it's just not safe for the residents to live back here. Now, the planning and zoning explains to us that they are not allowed to take the road into consideration when they have requests for zoning changes. And that just doesn't make good sense to me. And they also told us that, you know, they said, well, this is government, it doesn't always make sense. It's not always logical. Well, that needs to be changed. That government needs to be made logical and make, you know, use good common sense in those decisions. So I wonder if you could comment on that or enlighten me if I'm just being hard-headed and not open-minded to, you know, why this change in zoning should be able to take place.
Well, excuse me, when it comes to a zoning change, I've got to be careful what I say because we have to take in consideration by KRS 100 and what the statute says is what in that particular zoning or any zoning change that's the planning commission and the fiscal court, if it comes to the court, and the circuit court, if it goes that far, they have to take into consideration everything that was discussed and that was stated and all the evidence and data at the public hearing. And I think when they send me a report, I ask when they have these meetings, I try to go to some of these public hearings, but I've been to several, as a matter of fact, but you know, it depends on what my schedule is. I don't have time to go to every one of them, and it depends on if I've got other meetings, but I try to go and try to get, but I do get all the data back, and me personally and the magistrates, I would think they do and hope they do, is study all the details and the data, and you've got the state laws, you've got federal laws, you've got county laws that you've got to take in consideration. I think if I'm correct on that, didn't that get tabled? Did they actually have a public hearing, or was it tabled?
Yeah, it's been tabled twice. The people who are trying to get the zoning request have hired an attorney to represent them, and I don't have anything against those people. I mean, I like those people; they're good people, and I don't want to cause any trouble.
But there's not any that they have not had a public hearing yet. They tabled it.
It's been tabled twice. Yes, Judge.
Okay, yeah. So
April 25th is next time it's supposed to be.
Right,
on the,
I understand. I would because I've developed properties, and you know, I know. You know, as a farmer, and you go back and forth and having experience in this, I do quite a bit. And they just had one at Woodlawn Springs here a while back, and it was pretty controversial to some people. And but you know, you got so much growth and change, and we're working on this. Brad Spalding and I, and the planning director now, which is Sean Moore. And I've talked about this for, you know, I've been since '94 when I was a magistrate and the previous judge and everything. It gets controversial to some degree. And as far as the roads go, we've debated this thing 100 times. Not to criticize you or whatever. Do you get the cart before the horse or the horse before the cart? So And you said in your particular case, how many's back there?
There's like 10 to a dozen residents back here.
And over time, they built, you've been there 40 years, I bet back in that day, it wasn't no 10 or 12, it's probably just a few.
That's exactly right.
And they've grown Stonehouse Road, where I was raised, and I go back to, and then Lutheran Church Road, and I go in all these roads, and I hear that same comment that you said. So to get the roads upgraded, and widened and so on, I did several when I was a magistrate in the 4th District. And you got to have a demand, it's like a supply and demand. You got to have a demand before you go in and really upgrade these roads, because you got to have the tax base, and you got to have a good reason why you're going to spend the money to widen the road. And I just visited one in Bloomfield here last week. I went with a constituent that lives on a county road, and it's a long road, and there's very few residents on there. And trying to understand and prioritize your money, which is always tight, and the state what they'll allot you, based on the gas tax, and it's the more people that actually live on the road, I guess they get to prioritize a little higher. I know the state does that, and I think the county does that. But is it fair to the people who live back there, even if there's only one back there? So, I live on a county road, and this thing, and I pay taxes, and I've heard about every story that you can bring up. My stance is on your end is when it comes to the zoning side, it's got to fit, is it in a comprehensive plan? And if it's not in a comprehensive plan, you got to prove that there's been a social, economic, or physical change in that area. Basically, that's the 3 rules to simplify it. And you got a planning commission that I think that's doing a good job and have done a good job overall. The comprehensive plan is basically, it's a state law. You got to have it. You got to upgrade it or readopt it. They readopted this one, I think, just not too long ago. It needs to be updated. And can you force a developer to put money out on a county road and upgrade it for the whole area? There's been a lot of debate on that. Some places have put, I guess what you say, like a surcharge, that they'd had to allocate some money. We talked about that 15 years ago and never did go anywhere. So to answer your question, they have to follow KRS 100 and prove some of those needs in that area. So, again, the road, and I understand 100% where you're coming from. Do you widen the road before you get that much growth, or you do it after? Well, the fiscal court for sure don't have the money to go in and widen every road up front.
Sure.
Before you have that much traffic. So, you got a farmer, and the farmer's trying to retire, and his wife's got cancer, for example, or kids, and he needs to sell off some land, and usually a farmer or a lot of business owners to be able to eventually retire and enjoy a little bit of life is they have to sell off their property because they put everything in their income over their history of their life in their business, small businesses and farmers. And the only way they can ever slow down and get out is they got to sell some of their land to get out. Now, it jeopardizes the farmer in a lot of cases, and we're debating this in fiscal court now. We're getting ready to pass some new rules on some of our subdivisions and the streets widths and private roads and so on. So it's complicated. I've had this, and it really, just like you, I don't know how much land you own. If you had 10 acres back there, and then you want to give a tract to your daughter, and this happens all over the county, and it gets pretty heated. I've heard these stories, and people get madder than hell, and I don't blame them. It's my land. I ought to be able to sell it, do what I want to do with it. So but we do have planning zoning in this county, which was adopted, I think, in 1974, I believe, countywide, and that's the reason it's there, and I think overall it's done pretty good about planning. Your situation, I can't comment on it directly just because it's in the zoning process and trying to understand it, and we'll have to the planning commission will have to make their decision based on what's said at the public hearing. So I try to give you a roundabout answer, and then I had to cut you off short, sort of, just let you know the direct, and I'm sure they've said that up there. I don't know what they've said, but.
Yeah, about the same thing. I understand. You just have to follow the regulations that are already on the books. But, and I guess I'm just backward in my thinking. I know when you subdivide property and put streets in, you have to do that before you can get the zoning change. Is that correct? Or the plot has to be made available before the zoning.
Well, you gotta have a master. I guess I would say a master plan. You have to have that's why you have subdivision regulations, and city has their policies, and county. You gotta have the sewers.
My magistrate, Chief Metcalf, told me that there would be no priority for this road to be expanded.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I understand that. I mean, I understand you got to live within budgets, but it seems like you're just adding fuel to the fire. If the road's already not a good situation, and then you're going to put 6 more residents on there with other driveways.
I thought you said 3 a while ago.
Well, there's 6 on the 6 acres. There's going to be 3 that touches J.R. Ballard Lane.
Okay.
The other 2 will be on 49, and they're in a bad place as well because there's a blind hill there. All their mailboxes are at the end of the road.
Mm-hmm. All of your mailboxes at the end of the road?
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
and when the school bus stops and we have people coming in from work and there's already a blind hill there, it just creates a dangerous problem. Now, the school bus gets up the hill and then the kids have to walk back, but, and you hear this all the time. I don't mean to be beating the dead.
Oh, I'm fine. Yeah, I'm fine. But it's not just isolated in your area. It's everywhere. I mean, you got traffic problems.
I don't know very many roads that aren't but 10 foot wide.
Yeah, I don't know how many either. But I'm going to tell you what we will do. We'll look at it and see if there's a good reason to. And I'll talk to Keith about that road. We've got some scattered around, and without identifying all of them right here today, we have widened, and I widened many roads in the 4th District when I was a magistrate in fiscal court. Like I say, we've got to have the funds to do it, but I've got some state money that we've received state money that we've lobbied for there, but I'll definitely look at that road. Matter of fact, I might drive it when I leave here. And
okay. Well, honk your horn, you go over the hill so nobody runs into you, because it's that narrow.
I've been back there, but it's been a while.
Okay. And hey, and the county does a great job maintaining that road. I mean, I can't believe the work they do to keep the ice off of it and stuff, so we can get out. So I don't mean to be complaining. I just was.
I understand. That's what we're here for. All right. Thank you, sir.
I appreciate you, Judge. Thank you.
Take care.
Our number 348-2222. Need to pass on happy birthday wishes to you. You turned another year over the weekend, is that right?
I didn't hear you.
Did you have a birthday? I didn't say how many.
Yeah, I did Sunday. Thank you for that. I had a lot of people would call and they sent me text. I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm not a big birthday person, and as you get older, I get less and excited about it. But
but the cake and the cupcakes and all those, they took a little sting out.
Oh yeah, it's kind of hard to let it go, but I don't need it.
Okay. Go back to the text here. Spin around. One of these days, I'm going to realize we need to move that monitor. It says, Judge Hutchins, I've heard your conversations about the garbage bills in Nelson County. I also understand that you inherited the problem. However, what were the checks and balances then that resulted in this situation, and what are all your checks and balances going forward? Was an outside audit, other than the state audit, which I guess the one that you have to have every year, of county government, completed prior to you taking office? And you're audited annually, correct?
Audited annually, and we get. Well, I have to talk to Ron about it. You got a state financial audit, and then we got another audit comes in, and they a lot of different departments have their own audits, and but the garbage, it was a Tim Hutchins audit. How about that? That sounded pretty good. Technically, really, since I've came in, we just look at everything, and like I've told you on there before, we've made a lot of cuts and tried to change and save as much as we can, and I think we've proven that, and that way it allowed us to give more raises to our employees, to retain the employees and people that need it, and so on. I hate to keep coughing, but I've been having this drainage so bad. But anyway, the garbage, we just sent out some notices last week, for example. I think it was 308, I believe it was, that we found and all of these, I think, were under KU. Salt River does the billing for the county. Been doing it for, since I was a magistrate, and I don't think the previous court when I was there, we had them do the billing for us, and they bill for the other, I think it's inter-county utilities and KU, and of course they do their own. And it saved the county a lot of money, there's no doubt, because we figured it up. It probably cost us over $200,000, $250,000 to do it if we sent the bills out every month. And by them doing it, it saves the county probably over $100,000. And it's a good move, and it's still a good move. We've had meetings with Salt River, and I've been pretty, direct about it. I've had meetings with all our staff and trying to figure out how and why. But there's still several $100,000 that hadn't been collected that has been billed out. Okay, that's one piece. There's still some dumpster billing that we do. Salt River does the billing on the dumpsters also, and the residential, that we found out a lot of them when they was getting their bills, nobody, or I ain't gonna say nobody, but in a lot of cases when they got behind on their bills, they didn't call them or follow up as much as I think they should have. And that's where the checks and balances coming in with me and my staff, and I started asking a lot of questions. And when I look at that, I see there's potentially a lot of money left there, and it is a lot of money. For me to give you a definite answer, this gentleman today, I would probably be kind of out of line because I don't still have all the details yet. But we sent out 300 and something last week to people that has not even received a bill. For I don't know how many years, I can't tell you how many years. Now, I'm not blaming Salt River. I'm not blaming KU. But I really haven't decided when they get these, when the people buy new houses or building new houses, and Salt River don't know that they're living there yet or got electric because that's a KU customer. Mm-hmm. So there's been a lack of communication with internal some departments somewhere. We got a pretty good handle on that so far. Go ahead.
Ask a question. Does KU do any of billing, or
no?
They hand it off to Salt River. Salt
River does all the billing.
Oh, okay. And
there may be a few that we do internally, and I couldn't tell you all of them. And then the our landfill department, they do all the billing for the what I call the roll-off boxes, the big boxes. And we've got several of them I found out that hadn't been paid, that they've got bills built up pretty good. And we got to make sure our ordinance is clear. We've updated our ordinance, and we're going to have to update it and clean it up again, and gives us the teeth. I don't know how you feel about it, but if you owe the bill, you need to pay the damn bill. That's its bottom line. And these people that complain for whatever reason, and we're going to be as fair as we can be. I'm not going to go back and ask anybody that hadn't received a bill to pay any back charges. It's not their fault. A lot of people pay their bill. You're not going to pay a bill unless you get one in the mail in most cases. And there's all kinds of different reasons out there. Our ordinance is not as clear as it needs to be, and we're going to clean it up and try to get it as clean as we can. The rental side, there's been a lot of debate about rental, and that's a big part of it. That's on Salt River. It's not just KU. Let me go back to the KU first. Customers, and we sent out last week. I had one of my assistants sent out 300. I think it was 300 and something bills, and she's got about 60 phone calls back. And all of them, most people are super nice, trying to find out, well, this is a vacant lot. The address. We go through the addresses, and it's been time consuming. I'm telling you, time consuming on two of my staff members, actually three of them, and so you call this number back and let us know, is this accurate, not accurate, or whatever. And they've been super nice. Well, I think we've probably found out of the 300, I don't know if it's 308 or 380, it's a bunch, probably 50 or 60 of them so far that we found out that are probably legit. I think I was talking to John Snow yesterday, and three of the addresses were the church. One of the churches he belongs to up there had bought like 3 lots beside them. It still shows 3 addresses, and it shows no pay. So, there's some stuff that slipped through cracks and stuff. And we want to work with everybody, but so that's one thing that has happened, and we're getting that fairly defined. Salt River itself, when you got 1,000, 10,000, I think we got let's say 14,000 residential customers, give or take, and the majority of them is Salt River, and percentage-wise, it's a small percentage that slipped through the cracks. There's a few under Salt River we found it's not being billed or whatever, and you take over the years, you have those come through, and that's understandable, but we're finding those too. So I mean, theoretically, we think there could be 300 to 400, or at least 3 to 4, probably over 300, maybe 400, hell, maybe 500 that hasn't even received a bill. So that's pretty alarming, I think. Adds up to a lot of money, and then going back to when you do have a bill and you're not paying it, we have reached out to a lot of them, sent them letters, made phone calls, and a lot of them have came in and paid it. We have served summons on several. We've probably collected over 100,000, I think, close to it, of people not paying their garbage bills that has been in a file that's sitting there for I don't know how many years. And we're going back, and the people that hadn't paid their bills, and we're going after them. We go through the process. We send them to our county attorney. He has to send them over to the sheriff, get a summons, and then we've had agreements with people. A lot of them paying so much a month, so much whatever. So that's another process of going back to his checks and balances. So it's an ongoing process. It's pretty aggravating, to be honest about it, but we're getting through it. And we have to update our ordinance again to go back. For example, if you've got a dumpster and you're not paying your bill, technically, can we pick it up? We can pick it up, pay your bill, and you take it back, and we got to get that language lined out pretty good where they can pay it. The roll-off boxes, the same way. If we go after and say, well, you got to pay your bill, we got to make sure we're doing everything legal. Mm-hmm. But the bottom line is, if you got your bill, you need to pay it. And we're going to go, between now and July, my hope is to get this stuff before our next budget comes up. June, we've got March, March, April, May, June. Hopefully we get this cleared up. And it's been, I'm going to tell you, it's been an ongoing challenge. Brad Metcalf has helped dig into a lot of it, my assistant. I've had Catherine, the finance side, or Rhonda, she's helped. Teresa on the other side, and then code enforcement, and it's just trying to go back, and there was different departments doing the building and everything historically, and but we're getting there, and it's not easy. I'm gonna give you an example. I probably shouldn't say this publicly, but it's in our ordinance somewhere. Tim Hutchins, and I'll probably get chastised for this, but Tim Hutchins' bill, 45 miles of being road, and I don't pay my bills, my wife does. I don't even look at them most of the time. There's not a garbage bill on my electric. Didn't know this till last week. We got auditing and checking, this gentleman said. I said, you got to be kidding me. They brought it up, and he said, Hutchins, that don't look very good. You're the county judge. Well, we got checking it and checking the reason why, because, I got a dumpster at the store, and then we since then have got calls from other people in the same situation. If they have a dumpster, historically, like my mom and dad lived next to the store, and they would take the garbage, put it in a dumpster. A lot of people have their businesses, and they live beside the store, or they take it and put it in their dumpster. A lot of cases, they didn't do that. They're still taking it out on the road. But anyway, that's the reason that's in place. Now, that needs to be changed. I don't take my garbage from Malbeme Road to the store. I mean, I'm not saying I haven't done it, but I don't theoretically. I need to be paying like everybody else. So that's another thing we found out during our checks and balances and our internal audits. So it's just, and that's just something that we inherited, and it's why we doing it that way. So, well, it's the way we've always done it. That's the answer I get on a lot of these things, but it's not the way we're going to always do it anymore. We're going to fix it. And going back to the rental side of it, there's a lot of rentals that move and in and out, and it's hard to catch and find. And we'll see how that comes up when we come up this next ordinance. I think some way or another, you can't track them. It's hard to track them. They're moving from here to here and finding an address, and the sheriff trying to serve the papers and find these people, and it's tough. And there's a lot of them that know the system and try to get around it. So it's been, well, like I said before, it's been a damn mess, and it's tough and it's hard, but we're fixing it, and we're trying to get forward, make it better, and we're going to get it cleaned up. I'm not going to blame anybody in the past, because there's about 3 or 4 or 5 different officers, in my opinion, that should have caught all this and fixed it, but for whatever reason, they didn't do it. But I told my staff, before I die or leave this office, and I know I got 2 years left, I'm going to get this fixed somehow. It's been a wear, and I mean, it's just a lot of work. So just to be as transparent and open-minded as I can tell everybody if they got any questions for me, because that's just the way it is.
Our phone, well, we do have somebody on the phone line. We'll see if they'll bring us the message. 348-2222 is our number. Helps when you grab the right mouse. And we'll see if we get the message brought into us here on the phone. Back to the trash. You mentioned rentals. Are you talking about rentals of somebody rents a home, or somebody that's in a complex that's multiple units and maybe has just one big dumpster, or has individual cars?
I got a text myself. I'm trying to figure this out, but I don't understand. But a lot of it is, well, it's again, that's complicated, because you have some of these, I'm going to say big apartment complexes. Some of them provide a dumpster for all the individuals.
Yep.
And that works out pretty good in most cases. And a lot of them don't, and they've got individual garbage that we found out. And that's when it becomes, I'm not criticizing everybody. Most people do and pay, but there's always a few out there, quite a few, that's not doing it, and it makes it tough on all the rest of us. So we're doing that now. We're looking and searching, and it just takes so much time. We don't have enough staff standing around, looking at each other. So we're taking a lot of time to do that. But that's a lot of it's rental houses too, on what you just said.
Yeah. And the electrical bill stays at the house. It doesn't move with the person.
Yeah, and then Salt River, as an example, not to blame them, is, they send you a bill for $100. And it's $120.61 for the garbage. That's the red bill, we call it, your regular bill. If you're late, you get the blue bill. The blue bill doesn't show the garbage on it. By statute, they can't do that. Salt River can only turn off your electric. They can't stop picking up your garbage. We have to pick up your garbage because of the statute, okay? So then in reality, they take their bill off, they don't pay it. Some people don't understand it. When they get the blue bill, they're behind a couple months, they pay, let's say, $500, and under the assumption that they think, well, that was part of my garbage bill. So that's another kind of a problem. But, I got kind of criticized over that a little bit, but it don't really bother me, because I think you should be responsible. If I send you a bill and then all of a sudden you want to know how come you got this bill, you should be responsible somewhere. The citizens are. The county government can't take care of everybody.
Right. We're going back to the telephone. This is Miranda. Are you there?
I am.
Okay, go right ahead.
Hi, Miranda.
Just wondering, how do you dispose of paint?
Paint?
Yes.
I'll tell you what, there's a way you can't, you're supposed to take it to the landfill, and when you go to the landfill, they can dispose of it for you, and as far as the proper way to do it, when you get there, they'll have to guide you through that. I've heard them say, but I can't give you a direct answer because I really don't know without breaking the law. But you can take it to the landfill, and they will take care of it from there. There's a way they have to do it. They're supposed to do it.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
The bulky item pickup moves to Section 2, Area 2, this coming Monday, I believe. I believe it's right. At least I hope it's right, because that's where I am. And how is that going along, or how's that coming along?
Well, we discussed that in court today, and the bulky item pickup, we'll probably get done with this first route today, and we may have to clean up a little bit tomorrow, but we're about 2 to 3 days. We'll be about 3 days ahead of schedule. And that happens sometimes. It was, the first week of it, it was a little soft, and some people didn't get stuff out, but we've seen a lot more coming out now. But the second round starts Monday, so we encourage everybody to get all their junk out between now and Monday. Separate the limbs, put them separate, put your junk in one pile, and try to put your tires in another pile. It makes it so much easier. Get it close to the right-of-way so we can reach it. Don't leave it on a trailer or wagon, because our equipment will tear it up, and we will not take it off there. We can't do it. And if you do have it loaded up in a truck or trailer, just bring it to the landfill, and we won't charge anything. It helps everybody out that way. So, but we're running pretty good. We got our grade all back. I told you the part went out on that. That's the big machine. It really helpful on us. We got that back, and that's been pretty good.
One question came in on a text. It says, you didn't answer the question. I guess they're referring to, it explains it. It says, how will garbage bills be fixed going forward, and why not have an outside audit considering the jail commissary?
Well, yeah, he's talking about the jail. This morning he announced the jailer had a new jailer. He audited the commissary side of it and found out they owe us more money. Whoever this is, I don't have a problem with that, but I'm trying to get to the bottom of everything first, and if we need to get an outside auditor to come in and look at it, there are several, without doing that, and first of all, it costs money to do an audit, and he did a forensic audit. I don't know what it would cost us to do, but I wouldn't really be opposed to that, but whoever this gentleman is, they can call and text me over the next few weeks and see, down as we get some of this stuff lined out, if that's what it takes to do it, I don't have no problem with it. A lot of it is the way our ordinance is written, and what gives us the authority to do some things. You got to make sure that you're following the law, and so I don't really, just to answer the question directly, I wouldn't have no problem doing it, and it's something I would look into. Well, I got you. Anything else, Ralph?
Nope.
Okay, so they've a detour on 62 again, Boston Road, okay? And they've got, and I haven't driven out there when they started, there's the big trucks. They're supposed to catch them and go around Bellwood Road, which is a big loop, and it takes 10 to 15 minutes out of the way. That's the big trucks. That's where he's supposed to go. And the way that bridge is, it's in between the county road of Hugh Ice Loop, so people can hit it and come around, and they don't have to turn around and go back to E-Town. Now, the residents on Hugh Ice Loop don't like it. And I understand they don't like it because that's throwing a lot of traffic there. And but we got to be fair to all the constituents and the traffic without sending them back and causing road jams and everything else. Now, they started this. I talked to the county engineer today. One thing the state has agreed to, if there's any damage on that road, they're going to help us pay for that road, because I don't know how many, what they say, about 6 weeks to get this bridge done, 6-7 weeks. This gentleman said we need speed limit signs and weight limit signs on the bridge. And I've already talked, just to let them know, I already talked to Brad Spalding, our county engineer, about this yesterday and this morning. We're trying to get some flashing signs from the state. Their big concern out there is people coming in and flying down that road. You come right out of the bar, especially coming from Barstown, you hit that road and just fly down through there. If you're going 60, you're still going 60. And the road shouldn't be going 60 on that road. It's 35-mile speed limit. So we're going to be putting up some signs. I'll probably have the police, I'll try to get the sheriff down there and do some monitoring. And I know I am going to do it, and I'm sure he will. I'll talk to Raymond about that. And so his question, speed limit signs and weight limits, and
Are they referring to on the detours or?
Yeah, the county road.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you what we're going to do. Actually, I've already told him today we're going to put a speed bump. We've got some extra speed bumps left over that we use in, like yours, Maywood.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a big fan of speed bumps on county roads, but we are going to put one on that road right out of the gate and put a flashing light up there. I've already talked with the state to slow people down and let them know that you can't do that. So we're working on it, and just give us a little bit of time here to do it. I think it'll be a lot better.
That is 62, and that's bridge number 2 that's being fixed and repaired or replaced.
Yeah, I mean, that's part of progress. You hate to cause any, anything disturbing anybody and all the problem, but when you got to fix these roads and bridges and safety-wise, and it does cause some disruption for a while, but we'll get through it. Hopefully it'll be better.
Yeah.
You got any more text?
No, sir. Lines are open at 348-2222. And, we'll take that back. We do. Just came in. The county having any progress on finding new industrial park land?
It's a tough question to answer, sort of. The Barstown Industrial Development Corporation and the city and the county, work together in that. We have identified 2 or 3 more tracks that we got our eyeballs on. One that I've been working on myself, I think I got pretty good, maybe a good chance to get it secured. And then there's another track that we've been kind of eyeballing somewhat, and it's pretty tough to take so much money, and then...
Well, the requirements, Judge, just like this gentleman who lives on Ballard Road off 49.
Kind of answer the question when it comes, well, let's go back to the industrial park. We are looking and thinking we got maybe some options here that we're looking pretty heavy. You got to we need the gas. We think we need the gas pretty close. Most cases, some of them now don't want gas, but gas lines we think are pretty important to recruit some industries are coming in. And of course you got to have your electric grid. In most cases are pretty doable, but then sewer, definitely got to have sewer, and you got to have water, and you got to have the right amount of volume and pressure on the water. And sewer lines, again, are they gravity flow, are they force mains, do you have pump stations you have to upgrade? It's just a lot to it. So it's not like you can just pull it out of the hat and be done. So, but we do know that we're working on it. They've worked on it before I got here, and we've been pretty aggressive on it. So hopefully I can update them on here in the next couple of months on that.
Okay. We've got about 3 minutes left. Looks like Bubba from, I think it says Bardstown. You on the phone with us?
Yeah.
Okay, go right ahead, sir.
I got a question. I'm curious. Tim, you talked about an ordinance for landlords paying somebody else's. Was it water or what was it? I didn't catch it all.
Garbage.
Garbage.
Mm-hmm.
And why do you think the landlord ought to pay for it? Because you just said a while ago that everybody ought to be responsible for their own bills. And the reason I say that is, a lot of times when people move out, they owe the landlord probably a month or 2 months rent. Then to try to get it, we got to locate them, which is, like you said, it's almost impossible.
Yep.
And then when we do, we have to pay money through the court, take them to court to get our money if we can, or damages. And so we're paying a lot out of pocket, and if we've already lost 2 months' rent, we're losing another month's rent, fixing it back up and getting it rented back out. So you're looking for about 4 months of loss. And I'm not worried about no $20 garbage bill myself, but I don't think it's fair to the landlords when y'all need to search them out. I'm sure they're still around.
trying to find them, like you said, But I know that, I mean, I don't disagree with you, because I've had some rentals, and I know a lot of people that has rentals, and the same, I understand exactly what you're saying. And then trying to find them and locating them, it's not easy. It's tough. And I'm not saying we're going to do that, but we've got to come up with some better language somehow. I don't know how. I've been through a couple of these small claims courts, probably like you have.
Yeah.
And, I don't want to criticize anybody really, but virtually the ones that I dealt with, they know the system and they milk it as far as they can go, and it's tough to go to that next level. But probably what you're saying, kind of the same concept, but I'm with you. I mean, I understand it. I'm with you.
I know, but I'm not sure what you were going to put in your ordinance, and that was kind of a question, because I don't want to be after the
Well, we haven't got it in the ordinance. It's just something we're looking at everything. We've talked about this last year. My first year here was the last year, year before last, and what's really brought this to the top is with all these garbage problems that we've got. Now, one of the big problems with the garbage is it's state law. We still have to pick up the garbage, and you don't have to pay us. And then we have to go after and go through the court system. It's a messed up system. So,
well, the folks that's not paying it, as far as the landlords go, as far as them people, you can't find them. I mean, that's going to have to be a write-off probably, because I don't think it's. I mean, I don't know how prevalent it is that people do that, but you can discount senior citizens. So let's just say there was a senior citizen living in my property, and they left and didn't pay their bill. So it reduces the cost down. For sure. So, I think that's the wrong avenue to have as far as going after landlords, because they got their bills, they got their payments. I'm not going to lose my property over $20, but still.
Yeah. I understand it. Yeah, we've got what you're saying. We've got that. We've discussed that a lot in open court. So we know that and understand that, and I tend to agree with you, but. As our total, we just got to come up with a better plan, and that may not be in the plan, but we're going to have to come up with some kind of a better system, and we have already. Like I said, we've collected a bunch, so.
I know you don't have anything to do with the city, but I have a property that's empty, and it's on city sewers.
You got a what now?
A piece of property that's empty, a rental that's empty.
Okay.
I'm on city sewers, city water. Well, they'll bill me $40-some, and I ain't using jack. I'm using zero. But they say, well, that's kind of the rental on your meter. I said, no, I bought the meter, so I own the meter. But they're charging me $40 for it sitting empty, and there's nobody using water. So, I think that's wrong, but I know you can't deal with that because you're not the mayor.
Well, you got to turn off, you'd have to actually turn your service off, I guess, to get that eliminated. And then when you do rent it out, I mean, I don't know your situation, but.
No, they don't either. You can turn it off, but what they have to do is unhook it. And,
Okay, yeah.
They charge you a fee to come back out and hook it back up, so that's just too much trouble.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And it just takes more manpower for them.
I understand. All right, I appreciate it. He's getting on me about my time here, but thanks for calling. Anytime you let me know, because I need everybody's opinion, and that's good to hear all that. That's what I want, feedback, and that's the reason I'm here. So,
okay.
Thank you, sir, Bubba. And Roth.
That ain't my name, but anyway, that's the name I gave because y'all screening them phone calls, and I don't think you should be doing that either.
I don't know. I ain't screening nothing. Somebody just brought that into me. Somebody screened him.
The guy I just talked to asked who he was, but anyway.
I'll be asked you what.
We'll just ask for first names from now on, then.
What are you asking?
I guess he's asking for their name, so we'll just do first names.
Well, everybody's been telling him calling in there. I said, wait a minute. And I called him to see,
Yeah, I don't know how they're doing that on the backside. I'm not a computer whiz. I'm just answering a question, so.
It's computer. It ain't no computer whiz. It's on the telephone.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, quit screening them phone calls, whoever's doing it.
Okay.
I'll get on them. I'll fuss at them for you.
Okay.
Yeah, more people call in, maybe.
All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Bubba said hi.
All right, take care. And Roth, going around 733, looks like all the traffic he's saying is not going through the Bellwood Road. They're all coming that way, so we're going to have to get that. I'll get with the state and try to fix that problem. And down on Hugh Sloop, that's what he just texted me. So, but they just started on this the last few days. I don't know when they started, so we got to get that. Try to help the residents there and get it fixed. It's dangerous, But other than that, you got any more text?
No, sir, we are out of time. The show is...
What about Joe Hills?
We're going to hear from him before we say so long.
What is Joe Hills?
Joe Hill Power Sport and Outdoor makes this show possible each Tuesday at 11 o'clock.
Yeah, we got to give them credit, Joe Hills Power Sports, and hopefully everybody can go in and see what they got to offer. And I want to thank them personally for sponsoring this show, and thank Roth here. So good day, Roth, and I hope then I'll see you next Tuesday.
You bet.